Yo, what's up guys? TeacherPaul over here, and today we are going to Indonesia. This is the history of Indonesia in 12 minutes. Halo semuanya, saya Teacher Paul dan hari ini kita akan menonton the history of Indonesia in 12 minutes. So, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe, suka, like this video, and let's learn a little bit of Indonesia. Let's do it.
Today, Indonesia is probably most commonly known around the world for one place, Bali. An exotic and romantic vacation spot, so many people view Bali as the representation of Indonesia as a whole. But what about the rest of the nation? How did that one island and the rest that make up the entirety of Indonesia come to be what they are now? Where did the history of Indonesia begin?
Interesting. Let's learn about Indonesia.
Like its neighbor of Malaysia, Indonesia can trace its first signs of modern human life all the way back to about 40,000 years ago.
Wow.
Although there is also archaeological evidence suggesting that 40,000 years may be an underestimate, and other ancestors of today's humans may have been present in the region as long as 1.9 million years ago.
Wow.
Either way, the earliest reliable evidence of a sophisticated civilization in current-day Indonesia dates back to only about 400 BC. With the discoveries of Indian trade goods in the region and inscriptions found in West Java and eastern Kalimantan, it is also believed that trade with China would have been concurrent with the trade between the Indonesian archipelago and India. Commerce with these particular foreign nations would have also brought the religions of Buddhism and Hinduism to the islands, beginning or contributing to the outside influence on the region.
That's why,
Jumping ahead to the 7th century,
that's why we see
the
a lot of
powerful
sculptures
trade-oriented Sri
and
Vijaya Empire,
statues.
originating from the island of Sumatra, flourished from the Malay Peninsula down to Java. Despite their remarkable success over multiple centuries, the Buddhist empire of Sri Vijaya faced its decline after the Chola Empire from India seized their Sumatran territory of Palembang and apprehended their king in 1025.
Wow.
From that point on, the Sri Vijaya Empire essentially collapsed, making room for the Hindu kingdom of the Majapahit Empire. Founded in 1292, the Majapahit Empire rose to dominate the modern-day Indonesian region throughout the 13th and 14th centuries, prospering through trade as the Sri Vijaya Empire had done before them. Still, just as their predecessors, the Majapahit Empire hit a wall and began a rapid downfall. Theirs came after the death of one of their leaders, Gajah Mada, in 1364, and the following death of the king Hayam Wuruk in 1389.
They put the
Leading
same
up
picture,
to this
though.
time, the Islamic faith found its way to the archipelago and began to really take hold over the ensuing centuries. Many different lesser-known sultanates found success throughout the islands as a result, some even outlasting the dominion of the Majapahit Empire. As these kingdoms continued to grow trade in and out of the region, European powers became attracted to the spice market that it offered. The first of such nations to arrive in modern-day Indonesia were the Portuguese and the Spanish in the 16th century. While Spain did attempt to exert some dominance in the Maluku Islands, also known as the Spice Islands, their authority in any part of the Indonesian archipelago was short-lived, due to contesting efforts of Portugal and later the Dutch and British.
Really?
The Portuguese were initially triumphant in the Malay Peninsula, capturing Malacca in 1511. From there, they aimed their sights towards the Spice Islands, beginning their bid to take control of the spice trade in 1512.
Wow.
While
the
they had
Portuguese
some
were
levels of
all
success, they were fairly quickly pushed out through the arrival of the Dutch by the 17th century.
over. Wow.
In terms of the colonial
Dutch,
powers, the Dutch were surely
Portuguese,
the most
Spanish,
prominent intruder into the
British
Indonesian
influence.
islands. The first Dutch expedition set off for the archipelago in 1595 under the command of Cornelius de Houtman and dropped anchor at the shore of West Java. Around this time, the Dutch East India Company was formed in order to control trade between the Dutch Republic and the nations throughout the Indian Ocean. The Dutch East India Company was given a significant amount of autonomy by the Dutch government. allowing them to dominate trade throughout the East Indies and keep their competitors, notably the British and Portuguese, at bay. While the original focus of the company was to maintain commercial authority and prosperity, they began to shift their attention as they took control of Java and its neighbors.
Wow, I
During
had
the
no
17th
idea.
century, the Dutch East India Company made a gradual transition from a leading sea and trading power to more of a colonial-type establishment, after centering themselves in the fortified port of Jakarta, Batavia, or modern-day Jakarta. Working to gain more jurisdiction throughout the Indonesian islands, the Dutch East India Company was also able to capture Malacca from the adjacent Malay Peninsula in 1641. When the 18th century came around, though, the company began to struggle with corruption, conflict, and a slow collapse into bankruptcy, which resulted in the Dutch government revoking their charter and seizing all of their possessions in 1799.
Wow, the Dutch had
In
a
1800,
big part,
the Dutch
a big
East
chunk
Indies
of
was
Indonesia.
founded, made up of what would later become Indonesia, but for the time being served as the new Dutch colonial administration in the archipelago. This establishment grew over the 19th and part of the 20th century, although some ups and downs such as the Javanese War from 1825 to 1830, ending in a Dutch victory, did exist. Also, in 1825, the Dutch captured Palembang, the former territory of the Sriwijaya Empire. During this period, the Dutch also settled disputes and clashes with Aceh, Lombok, and Sulawesi, and continued to expand their dominion. In the course of the Dutch colonization, the people of the Indonesian islands were treated vastly unfairly. As Dutch priorities shifted more
This
towards
is
agriculture,
crazy.
the local farmers were mandated
had
to
no
set
idea.
aside 20% of their own property in order to grow crops for the Dutch to export, such as pepper, sugar, cinnamon, tea, and coffee, and indigo. By the 1870s, the colony moved to a free market system and began to form private plantations, although the local people were still not truly treated justly. Finally, at the very start of the 20th century, the Dutch installed a new system in order to promote the welfare of the archipelago's locals, known simply as the ethical policy. This new program brought about changes such as the construction of new schools in the region, government reforms that allowed more autonomy for the local officials, and the opportunity for some of the indigenous people to become more educated and learn more about the Western world. Even with these improvements, though, not every local was impacted, and therefore many people on the island still felt oppressed by the colonial authority.
Wow.
Over time, these feelings of resentment culminated in nationalist movements and a push for ultimate independence. Unfortunately for the people of the archipelago, the fight for freedom was swiftly interrupted by the intrusion of the Japanese during World War II. At
What?
first, the locals were not completely displeased by what they saw as a liberation from their Dutch oppressors.
Japan as well?
When the Japanese occupation of the region began, they were quick to win favor from the Indonesian people, doing so through their use of natives for administrative positions, unlike the Dutch and their willingness to support Indonesian nationalists. The successful strategy was only temporary, though, as the Japanese opted to use the Indonesian islands in whatever form best suited them during the war, which drew some disapproval from a number of locals. Still, the relationship between the Japanese and natives was not horrible, and as the Axis power began to face defeat in the World War, they threw their support even further behind the Indonesian independence movement.
Wow.
During the latter half of 1944,
I had no idea.
the Japanese declared their goal of creating a
Guys.
self-governed East Indies, which was later confirmed in August of 1945.
Guys, let's just recap. They were invaded by the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Japanese, and Great Britain. But he didn't really say anything else about Great Britain, did he?
When Terauchi Hisaichi, commander of Japan's Southern Expeditionary Army Group, summoned Muhammad Hatta and Sukarno, two Indonesian independence movement leaders, and informed them that Japan intended to make an immediate transfer of independence. The two nationalist men announced Indonesia's independence, declaring it an
Nice.
independent republic. Once word was out of the Japanese surrender to the Allied forces on August 17, 1945. The proclamation of an independent republic was not quite so simple, though, and sparked a series of clashes between the Indonesians and the colonizing forces of both the British and Dutch. The British were less compelled to fight back, eventually withdrawing as the Dutch stepped in to try and retake their former possession. After repeated failures, unsuccessful police actions, and growing condemnation from the far west, such as the US, at long last, in the final weeks of 1949, the Dutch recognized Indonesia. The following years marked a time of political and constitutional development, accompanied by agricultural and economic ups and downs as well. Beginning first as a parliamentary democracy, subsequently following what then-President Sukarno called a guided democracy, started in February of 1957. The republic then fell into the hands of a dictator, former General Suharto, in 1966, before finally returning to a democracy as of 1999.
30 years.
Today, Indonesia is still growing and developing as an independent nation, and an overall population of roughly 273.5 million people in 2020. The Republic of Indonesia is now led by their 7th president.
Okay, so let me just put this into perspective. Brazil, my country, has 200 million, and it's the 5th biggest country. Indonesia has 275 million. Oh, that's a lot of people.
President Joko Widodo of the PDIP, or Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle.
Wow. But hey guys, Indonesia is coming up with a lot of talent, a lot of media. Okay, so credits goes to all these people for making this video. Thank you to everyone who made this video. We are gonna go to a travel video now that we know a little bit more about Indonesia. We're gonna go to, let me just open the video here for you guys. But as we have seen, Indonesia is just amazing, just beautiful. Let me just show you a little bit of Indonesia. Ooh, this is so beautiful. So this is Java. There are so many talents, so many musicians, and they have great actors as well. This is definitely a country that I want to visit, and I want to see how it is there, you know. I have been watching so many videos from Indonesia. I've been learning a lot from the people, everyone who comment. I've been learning a lot from everyone who has been so kind to me here on the channel that they are from Indonesia. And I have, while watching Indonesian television, I saw that we have a lot of things in common. Indonesia and Brazil are very similar in a few things. Well, very similar in many aspects. Wow. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? So, those monuments, we can clearly see it's a Hindu-influenced monument. And now I understand why. after knowing a little bit more about the history of Indonesia. Oh. Sea turtles. What is that? Wow, is that the volcano? Man, it's full of natural beauty. Luar biasa. Oh. I wonder if you can shower there. You know, take hot baths, steam baths. Java, September 2016. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go subscribe to Travellicious. The channel is called Travellicious. It's a nice name. And we have one last video of Indonesia, which I'm gonna pull up for you guys real quick. So this is from Mojo Travels.
For some of the most impressive islands on Earth, head to this corner of the Pacific.
Why Indonesia should be your next vacation destination. Narrated by Rebecca.
Welcome to Mojo Travels, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 8 reasons why Indonesia should be your next vacation destination. Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Travels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at a variety of cool reasons you should check out this fascinating and heavily populated Asian nation.
That is a huge
Yogyakarta,
Komodo dragon.
a large city on the island of Java, which is itself the most populous island in the world. Yogyakarta has been growing in popularity in recent years. A calmer, more culturally focused version of the country's capital, Jakarta, which is also on Java, it's an ideal destination for learning more about Indonesia. Paying homage to both the Hindu and Buddhist traditions, Yogyakarta is surrounded by important religious sites. You can also visit vast paddy fields and see how rice, the country's staple food, has been grown for centuries. Or stop at Kalibiru National Park to appreciate the natural beauty of the area. Back in the city itself, you'll be treated to a rich artistic environment, with lots of concerts and performances. Mount Bromo, the crowning glory of the Tenggara Massif, a large volcanic region with many active volcanoes. Mount Bromo is a popular hiking spot. The climb to the peak isn't the hardest trek out there, and can be completed in around 2 hours. But when you reach the top, you'll nonetheless be treated to views of the stunning volcanic vista.
Wow.
At only 7,600 feet, it's by no means the tallest peak around, but is Indonesia's most popular mountain by quite a substantial margin.
That is
You could spend a whole week just exploring Java's volcanic east side, though it is worth remembering the area can be unstable and eruptions are common. Diving. Indonesia is one of the countries whose waters make up part of the Coral Triangle, an enormous coral reef in Southeast Asia that's home to 2,000 different species of fish and 6 different species of sea turtles.
Wow.
Because of all this natural beauty,
So
Indonesia
beautiful.
is a must-visit for diving enthusiasts. For the best spots, you'll want to go to Raja Ampat, a cluster of gorgeous but rarely visited islands. From here, you can go swimming in the shallows or take a boat out to the open water, where you'll be able to see some of Earth's most beautiful marine life up close. Komodo Dragons. The animal kingdom's largest lizards are endemic to Indonesia,
Man.
and if you're interested in seeing them, a visit to their namesake island, Komodo, is well worth the trip. While you certainly shouldn't try to pet the dragons, there are lots of places where you can see them both in the wild and in captivity. Be warned though, these lizards are large meat eaters with a venomous bite, more than capable of killing a human. However, there have been talks of closing the island to tourists for a year or so in order to help the lizard population grow and thwart smuggling. So if you're desperate to see real-life dragons, you'll want to confirm the island is welcoming tourists before you pick a date. Temples.
That is
Indonesia
crazy.
is home to the largest
That
Buddhist
is a
temple in the
beast.
entire world,
It looks so
Borobudur,
buff.
which you can find just outside of Yogyakarta. Located in Java, this stunning monument dates back to the 9th century. Even if you aren't religious, the architecture is stunning and has been known to leave many visitors speechless. In the same trip, you can also visit Prambanan, an enormous Hindu temple built over 1,000 years ago and dedicated to Shiva, as well as other temples for Vishnu and Brahma. Across the rest of Indonesia, you'll find many more temples, Hindu and Buddhist alike, all celebrating the country's religious diversity. Sumatra, where
What fascinates me is the way they build it. You know, one brick on top of each other. It's so unique. It's a different type of, you know, monument.
as some parts of Indonesia have become saturated with tourism, much of Sumatra is still wild and untouched. Its dense jungles aren't always
They have
accommodating to
tigers?
tourists, but the difficult conditions are worth it for the chance to see some of the world's most endangered animals, including the incredibly rare Sumatran tiger. You
Wow.
might also run into clouded leopards, orangutans, rhinos, and monkeys. But the scenery alone makes Sumatra a fantastic destination. It's home to Indonesia's largest and prettiest
gotta be
lake,
brave.
Lake Toba. And if the coasts are more your thing, Sumatra has the country's top surfing spots. Jakarta, the Indonesian capital,
Oh.
Jakarta is a bustling metropolis
Look at that. That is a beautiful skyline. I had no idea there were so many buildings. This looks amazing. This looks so beautiful at night.
nestled amidst the jungle. With an enormous population of 10 million people, the city is composed of brightly lit busy streets and enormous skyscrapers. With its prevalence of narrow streets, however, the best way to get around Jakarta is by motorcycle, Indonesia's most
Really?
popular vehicle. It has lots of shopping opportunities,
Is it like a moto
Taman
taxi?
Anggrek Mall, as well as some more family-friendly attractions like Rangunan Zoo, for
Oh.
all the excitement of Indonesian wildlife without having to go off the beaten track.
He's
Jakarta
so happy.
has many opportunities.
The elephant is so
It's
happy.
also home to Istiqlal Mosque, the largest of its kind in Southeast Asia.
Wow.
Bali,
That's
the
huge.
world's #1 destination for backpackers. Bali
Number
has
one.
so much to offer that one could stay there for weeks, never even venturing into the rest of the country. Though we recommend a more well-rounded trip, we do get the appeal. Popular simultaneously for its exciting ceremonies, culture, and traditional arts, and for wild parties and hedonism, Bali has everything you need for a memorable vacation. With white beaches and green jungles, what's not to love?
Wow.
Sure, the volcanoes are a little overactive and it tends to get crowded with tourists, but it's a paradise nonetheless. Also, the famous Gili Islands are just a stone's throw away. Dreamy tropical getaways with plenty more diving to be enjoyed. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Mojo Travels, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Okay, guys, you can go check out Mojo Travels and subscribe to them if you like their video. It is an amazing production and very educational, very informative. I really liked it. And today we learned a little bit more about Indonesia. We saw a little bit more of Indonesia. And as I've been saying here, my first reaction was it Indonesia? I don't know if it was my first reaction. I think my first reaction was, yeah, I think it was Taiwan. No, Taiwan? I can't remember. Or Thailand. I can't remember. But I know that Indonesia has become a huge part of this channel. It's actually the #1 country that watches my videos. And I just want to say thank you. Terima kasih for menonton my videos. You know, I just want to thank everyone from Indonesia who's watching, and everyone who is not from Indonesia. I hope you guys enjoyed the country. And yeah, let me just show you guys. I always say it, but I never show it. It's better when I show it, right? So I'm going to show you guys which country watches most of my videos, and you guys, okay, here we go. and you guys can see what I'm talking about. It changes a lot, but Indonesia is always over here. Look, number 1. Argentina, number 2. United States, number 3. Russia, number 4. And Japan, number 5. That's a surprise. Oh, because of Baby Metal, I think. And maybe Koji Tamaki. But Indonesia is always number 1 here on the channel. Every month, Indonesia is number 1. So thank you. Terima kasih, Indonesia, for watching my videos, and everyone else. So one day, I'm probably going to go visit Indonesia, and I'll film it. It's going to be awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you guys want me to make a video trying to learn Indonesian, Bahasa, I'm gonna make that video. I don't really know a lot. I just know a few words and phrases, but I would like to learn. And if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. Take care now. Bye-bye.